What's up, football fans, to the final picks and predictions for the NFL 2024-2025 season, capping us off with, of course, you guys already know, the Super Bowl. Woo! Supposedly the most important and most exciting game of the year. So why am I already watching basketball again? In all honesty, you guys already know this, and I'm standing exactly by it. Fact of the matter is that my playoff picks have been absolutely dreadful for this season. I did pretty well, total wins up there and stuff like that, right in the regular season. Wasn't top dog or anything, but did quite well. I've been tanking all my picks. Granted, I've been going for some Hail Marys in them during the playoff picks, and now it's a team I really don't want to three-peat because their defense is the only reason they're there, but the offense is getting all the praise somehow, versus one of the most bitter rivals of my team, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I'm not interested in this, you know what I mean? And to put it the way Bill Burr said, I'm not going to go on a whole conspiracy thing or anything like that about fixing games and everything's a script and stuff. But I am going to say, I'm going to use the word he used, and this felt a little massaged a little bit. That's the word he chose, and I think that's a good word to say. Like, I'm not completely sold on the idea that obviously, these teams didn't fight to get here and the whole thing is rigged and stuff. But does anybody see the little bit of coincidence and stuff? And in all honesty, I'm not interested in this game because I don't like watching the Eagles play. Not as a Cowboys fan, but I just mean in general. Sometimes they turn it on. They're one of these teams. They turn it on. And I say this about a lot of teams, to be fair, but it's weird. The Eagles are one of the weirdest to do this, is they turn it on and they can dominate. They can destroy a defense, an offense. Both can just be, 40-odd points on the board, and there's just no stopping them. Then all of a sudden, the following week, they face a team that should be, like, do they have the Cowboys syndrome? But it's not even the Cowboys syndrome, which is the Cowboys have a problem. Ever since the Tony Romo era, they've had a problem about fighting teams to the level of that team. If they go up against Tom Brady and the Patriots, they fight to an elite level. If they go against the Carolina Panthers, all of a sudden we can barely score a field goal because Carolina Panthers can barely score a field goal. You know what I mean? That's the Cowboys' one big thing that I've noticed as a fan over the years. The Eagles don't even do that much. All of a sudden, they'll defeat the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs. And then all of a sudden, they'll lose to Carolina, Arizona, the Jets, the Giants. It's like, whoa. You just beat the top 4 teams in the league, and now all of a sudden you're losing to some of the ones in the bottom. What happened? Like, they get in slumps. They're a team that slumps. They're not wishy-washy of, okay, we're going to play to this team's level this week, or, I don't know, last week they were on fire, so this week they can't be. It's week-by-week basis. No, they get into a rut, and they don't ever seem to be able to pull themselves out of it. So the Eagles have always bothered me just watching them in general as that, from that perspective, as a guy who, obviously bets on football. So going into this, not only are the Eagles obviously not a fave, team of mine. Personally, I think that the Giants and the 49ers are the two bigger rivals to the Cowboys. Eagles are number 3. But, you can make an argument that the Eagles are the biggest rivals. It doesn't really matter. Either way, I am disappointed to see them here instead of Washington, right? The fact of the matter is, though, I have always preferred the NFC football. I think the games are crisper, they're cleaner, they just seem more, I don't know what it is, professional, like more money's put in NFC. I don't know what it is, but I've always preferred watching NFC head-to-heads with nothing to do with me, but I'd rather watch Atlanta at New Orleans than the Jets at, the Bills. I'm more interested in NFC matchups, always have been. So I'm more partial to that for that reason. The other reason here is I am going to go with those same Eagles. And my reasoning being is, A, I really don't want the three-peat. I don't want the three-peat, only because I don't believe it's particularly deserved. in this regard. And the only reason I believe it's not particularly deserved for this very reason. Patrick Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback. Probably currently the best quarterback in the league. Not denying that. This season, no, he's not. This season, he has barely, him and his offense, have barely been able to beat a team in a relatively mild schedule, a relatively easy schedule for this apparent juggernaut Super Bowl 2-time winning team. They had quite a mild schedule, and yet they weren't able to defeat a team by more than a possession. Like, okay. I think they did it once, actually. But still, my point still stands. That is not a juggernaut offense. So, what's been happening? Well, where the offense has been only being able to mildly get it done, the defense has stepped up. And we see this with all the teams. That is not my problem. My problem is that even during the Tom Brady Patriots era and things like that, people didn't continue to say Tom Brady was on fire when Tom Brady was not. If they were winning 5 out of 5 games, but by a hair, by a field goal against teams, like in his own division, because back then Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets all sucked, or he was fighting weaker teams and stuff, and he was barely winning, people didn't go on the radio. The sportscasters and the normies didn't continue to say Tom Brady is the golden boy, Tom Brady is the best, Tom Brady cannot be defeated. They called him out for it and said, Tom doesn't seem to be, he's still scoring points, but he doesn't seem to be on top of his game. His defense is doing fantastic, though, and they would immediately start praising, and I remember this specifically in the years that sometimes Tom Brady himself and his offense was in a bit of a slump. They would still win some games. They'd lose some, but if they still won a few games here, but it was hard on the offense, they would be called out for that. Not to say, oh, Tom Brady's not good anymore, just to praise the defense. To say, Patriots defense really stepped up here to make this game, a game, so they weren't walked all over, and lo and behold, they win. The problem is the exact same thing has been happening this entire season for the Kansas City Chiefs, and yet I haven't heard about a single Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm not a guy who has my exact fingers on the entire pulse of the entire sports world and every interview that goes on. What I'm saying is that it's Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes who are always being interviewed after these wins. Not the linebacker, not the guys, not the defense, not the defensive players. That bothers me. That really bothers me when a game is so obviously won by the defense. I understand the quarterback is the hub, the heart, the central, the captain, however you want to describe him. But when he's not the reason for the victories, I want to hear from the Kansas City defense. I want the praise to go to the defense when the defense wins you the game. Because I know for a fact, if this was almost any other team, specifically the Cowboys, people wouldn't say that Dak Prescott was completely, if we were the same record as the Chiefs and going into this game and it was evident, just like with KC, that the defense are the ones winning us the games, nobody would go out there and say that Dak is the GOAT, he's the new Tom Brady, he can't be defeated, he's amazing. No, we would say Dak Prescott carried by defense is exactly what the headline would read. All the major sportscasters, news stations, and radios, that's what they would talk about. They would not continue to call this man, the GOAT. And that's what's actually really bothering me. So it's, once again, public opinion and perception is actually what's getting to me and making me not want the three-peat. Because before this, I like Patrick Mahomes just fine. I think he is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best, in the league currently. Not this season, maybe, but overall. I like Andy Reid. I was watching when Kansas City wasn't very good and when Patrick Mahomes was up and coming. So I'm sitting here just wondering, it's the level of favoritism, going to the wrong players on the wrong team, and that really, that irks me, that bothers me. The gratitude and the praise are not going to the people actually making it happen. So this is not about conspiracy theories about scripted games or, the drama and the Taylor Swift thing and all that stuff. No, it's simply down to the fact that no matter where I turn, I can turn on my local news, sports radio. And it's just somebody local with a guy called in once a week that they just shoot the shit about every sport. And even nobody mentions the defense. Nobody talks about Patrick Mahomes and stuff. And my brother, who's much more into sports overall, he turns on SportsCenter in the morning while I'm, watching something else or got the radio on. He's the one right in there. He said, well, maybe you got to dive a little deeper into more stuff. But I'm like, yeah, but I just haven't heard enough. And every time it is brought up, it's always about Mahomes, and it's not about anything else. And once again, he was not on top of his game this season. No different than Peyton Manning's last season with the Denver Broncos. He won his second ring with the Denver Broncos, but everyone and their dog at the time and now will say Peyton was carried by his defense. He wasn't an elite anymore. He was injured, he was hurt, and he was not the star. He was not making the reason the Denver Broncos got and won that Super Bowl was not due to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Doesn't mean he wasn't carried that season. And all I'm saying is that I want the same thing said about Mahomes this season, and nobody is saying it. That bothers me. The agenda bothers the shit out of me. So, either way, this is the last video of the season, so it doesn't matter. And once again, I told my brother this, and I think I already told you guys in the video. I'm going to put on my frilly little apron, one that I bought my wife years ago, and really nice, like old-fashioned, like 50s one. She was always into the retro stuff. So it's got the red polka dots, the white, the little frills on the bottom and stuff. Oh yes, it's a girly, frilly 1950s housewife apron. I'm going to put on that apron, because I do a lot of the cooking anyways at Super Bowls and stuff like that. I'm going to put on the apron, I'm going to go out to the kitchen, and I'm not going to bother watching the damn game. I'm just going to slave over a stove for the people who give a shit, because I really don't care. I want the Eagles to win just so the people will shut up about KC and Mahomes. But I don't want the Eagles to have a victory either, because they're one of my most hated rivals. So I don't have a leg in this horse race. I got nothing. I have absolutely no desire to even watch the game. And if it weren't for the fact that we generally have people over for the Super Bowl, it's an excuse to get together with good food, drink, light a fire, that kind of stuff. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want to be antisocial, I legitimately would sit here and stream instead of watch the Super Bowl. I would. And I'm not even been into streaming lately, but I would sit here and make YouTube videos instead of watching the Super Bowl if I wasn't going to be accused of being antisocial or something like that, right? So, yeah. I have no desire to watch this game. I'll know what the score is, but I'm going to only half pay attention to it. I'm not actually going to sit down in front of the TV and watch it. That's how disinterested I am. This is the most telegraphed feeling, like TV network. Look at this, a rematch in the Super Bowl with the possibility of a three-peat. Like, you couldn't write it a script better. You know what I mean? That's the problem. That's what rubs guys like Bill Burr and myself the wrong way. Is not that it is scripted, is that it feels scripted. Like Sidney Crosby scoring the game-winning goal in a gold medal game. Still feels to this day, it was like, that felt really on the nose. You know what I mean? I don't believe that was fixed, but it just feels like that's Hollywood movie endings, right? That's Hollywood drama levels of stuff, and that's what this feels like. Because no other matchup would have had that same draw, that same feel, If Kansas City had been knocked out, it actually loses revenue. That's a fact. So I just, it just rubs me the wrong way. I'm not interested in the matchup because I don't really care for either team. Only, once again, the Chiefs fans and the public perception of the Chiefs right now rubs me the wrong way. That, they're still the greatest offense when they're not. That part bothers me about the Chiefs and this whole three-peat era. And then then we have the Eagles, of course, and I've never liked the Eagles. So I'm just sitting torn, and I'm just throwing up a coin, or, throwing it up and saying, well, I prefer NFC championships over AFC championships. So let's go with the NFC. Prefer NFC football. That's who I'm picking. I honestly, as I said, I'm only going to half watch the game. Not really going to give a shit. Might even go home early. Once all the food's cooked and stuff, I'll go home and I won't even turn it on. I'll be like, oh, they won. That Monday, it won't be one of those days where it's like, oh, maybe I'll take the Monday off. It's going to be a really good night, good, exciting and stuff, I don't think so. Anyway, what are you guys' Super Bowl foods for this upcoming Super Bowl? Send me what you guys cook or what you order. Do you order pizzas ahead of time? It's a big, night for that stuff. So do you order your Papa John's or whatever? See, I don't do pizzas, not in the sense of I don't do the fast food chain pizzas. We go to our local pizza joint. Local pizza joints, no matter what city you're in, when you find a good local pizza joint, that's always the place to go, right? You don't go to the Domino's and the Papa John's and all the Little Caesars. Nobody I know actually does that once they have a local spot down the road. That's where you go. You go to your local pizza joint. But do you guys just order food? Do you have certain recipes? Do you have certain game day food? Let me know. Let me know down in the comment section down below. And let me know who you guys are picking in this Super Bowl. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're probably really excited. If you're an Eagles fan, I guess best of luck to you. That's all I can say. I hope the Eagles kick the crap out of them. I mean, in the nicest way possible. But yeah. Yep, that's it for me. That's the end of the season. It's kind of a meh. And as I said, I'm already back into basketball, because normally during the football season, I get heavy into football, and I only put on a basketball and a hockey game now and again throughout the season. I'm just not in the mood. I follow that one sport. Football is my favorite sport. And then once the football season's over, generally by the Super Bowl, then I get myself rewired to, okay, I'm going to watch, now it's back into the basketball and back into the hockey and stuff like that. And I'm already in that mode. Already watched, quite a few games already, and I'm like, okay, tonight, all right, who's playing tonight? And I'm just not even paying attention to any of the NFL news anymore. I'm like tapped out. The season, the 2024-2025 season for me, was already over at the moment these two teams got to the Super Bowl. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed your season. I did quite well overall, though, of course, all these losses are racked up. My ratio really went boom, because I racked up like 12 losses in the playoffs alone. I've been terrible in the playoffs. So, but yeah, that's the last one of the year, or, well, the season. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Who are you going for? And once again, what's your game day food? Do you have a special recipe? Do you order out? Or do you just get whatever? Or do you not even give a shit about the Super Bowl? Questions, answers in the comments. Have a good one, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe. See you back here next season. Have a good one. Bye-bye.